have a question for you. If I shopped at Target for 44 years and every time I swiped my card, they charged me an extra 10%, but told me that that 10% was going to, let's say, a homeless children's charity in Gilbert, Arizona. And then one day I found out that it wasn't. The manager of that Target store was just buying himself Ferraris and flying on vacation to Venice. Wouldn't you expect me to report him to somebody and to let other people know? Don't pay that 10% extra to Gilbert, Arizona Target. Or if one of my children went to a public school and I found out that the public school principal was pulling my child aside and asking him questions about whether he touched himself in his private areas, how often he did that, if he was doing the same thing to his girlfriend. You guys, if that happened, that would be on ABC 15 News at 6 o'clock that night. You would expect me to warn other parents about what was going on, right? If I had a neighbor move in next door to me and the neighbor told me that I should marry some creepy guy that I'd only been dating for a couple of days, and then that creepy guy ended up being an abuser, and if my neighbor told me that I couldn't divorce him, if he shamed me for even wanting a divorce, if somehow he bribed me and threatened me and made me stay in an abusive relationship for 24 years, my God, you guys, everybody would expect me to be posting to next door and telling all of the other neighbors, dude, don't listen to the neighbor over here. He's crazy. If the waitress at my favorite restaurant, while she was serving me my capellini pomodoro, taught me little secret handshakes and signs and then touched me underneath my clothes with oil and water and gave me a rub down and said, now you're going to get into heaven because I've taught you these secret handshakes and signs and given you the water and oil rub down. You'd want me to tell about that on Yelp, right? Like everybody would want to know not to go to that restaurant and make sure that that waitress was fired, right? Public dialogue around criminal and abusive and coercive behaviors keep citizens safe. And we understand that, and we expect that as citizens in the United States especially. But for some reason, people turn a blind eye to abuses of power when they are performed by people within the auspices of a religious belief system. And I get thousands and thousands and thousands of comments like this all the time. It's funny that ex-Mormons are bitter and create all kinds of stories that are not true. Move on if you don't like that church. And this mindset has intimidated former religious people like myself for millennia. But the buck stops here. I'm no longer afraid. And I want to know, why do we think that it's okay to turn a blind eye to abuses by religion when that wouldn't fly with Target or the neighbor or anybody else?